Yo, 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 it's your girl and boy CT. I'm Cindy Barnes.
And I'm Travis Barnes.
And we are the founders of the Overcomers Podcast.
Sponsored by Journey 333. That is a place of mind, body, spirit that helps you with fitness, coaching, and nutrition to look better, live better, and feel better. We produce these episodes every week for your enjoyment to help people to overcome adversity and live their dreams. All right, everyone. Welcome to the Overcomers Podcast, sponsored by Journey 333. Journey 333 is a place of fitness, coaching, and nutrition, mind, body, spirit, where we help people to look better, live better, and feel better. I'm Travis Barnes, and I'm the founder of the Overcomers Podcast and the founder of Journey. Today, I have a fellow entrepreneur with me in the building. I'm super excited. Wow. I've been talking with him a little bit off the air, and he's just so smart, and he has such valuable information to share. He is the CEO and founder of aiMonkey, which is one of the fastest growing mobile app developers and software development companies in the world. He's had an amazing entrepreneurial journey that started off in Venezuela. His family was entrepreneurs themselves. He decided not to go in the family business. He learned a lot of lessons along the way of trying different things before he got to where he's at today. So I can't wait for him to share his business lessons and also, what do you know about AI, everyone? Artificial intelligence. What do you know about that and the impact that it's going to have on the world? Why you need to know more about it, how it's affecting the political landscape? Well, today, Elias Soukatos is going to tell you all about it, and I just can't wait. Elias, welcome to the Overcomers Podcast.
Thank you, Travis, for that introduction. I think you're exaggerating a little bit, but I'm very excited to be here. This is a great opportunity for me to share with you my experience. And tell me, what do you want to know?
Well, I think that first, I guess, just to let the audience get to know you, a little bit about your history, if you could. Your family was in the salt business, which had given you some opportunities. You tried a few different things, and just really how you arrived at aiMonkey, doing what you're doing today. And then we'll dive into, of course, the AI portion of it. So if you could just share a little bit about yourself for our audience.
Yes, well, my family was still is in the salt industry. But, my grandfather was an entrepreneur. He created that business. My dad was an entrepreneur. He created his own business. My mom is an entrepreneur. So when I was a kid and they all were entrepreneurs, they all had their own businesses, I was like, I need to create my own business. I want to travel my own road and I need to part my own way. So I want to create things and I want to be I want to create my own things. Let's put it in that way. So I had many ideas in mind. First, I decided to offer some services to my family business. Then I decided to maybe I could go in different business. But then I saw an interview by Jeff Bezos, and they asked him that this is in 1997, and they asked him, what is your company? And he said, I created this thing called Amazon. And how did you came with this idea? Well, I was working in a quant hedge fund in Manhattan when I came up with this stat that said internet usage is growing 1,200% a year. So I just created a business plan that aligned with this growth. And I said, that's really smart. I mean, this guy, he's just putting himself into the right industry, and it's the industry that is taking him up. So where should I go? What industry do I like? And I came with tech, and I said, well, I didn't know much about tech back then, but I knew that I wanted to be in this industry. So I went to the best university in Venezuela. Back then, when I was in Venezuela, I stood up and I went to the technological park and I said, hey, I'm an investor. I have all these opportunities for you. And I make this really big pitch. And the president of the park came and said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. Why don't you tell me? And then we started having this conversation. And I said, really, it doesn't matter the idea, but what matters is the team. If you have a soccer team and you bring Ronaldo, you bring Messi, you bring Modric to the team, well, that this team is going to perform very well. So why don't you bring me the best students in the university? So he brought them and we started doing some ideas and we said, well, we can offer, I have these guys here, why don't I sell them? So I started giving some conferences and going to different places with other companies. And I started like pitching the idea. Hey, I have a really good team of developers. They all are the best students of this university and we are really good. We have really good rates until I sold my first project. And then we started growing really fast.
Well, I love this story because it sounds like being entrepreneurial is in your blood, right? I mean, everybody, grandfather, father, mother, and doing different things. And so you chose to do your own different thing. And because it was really the spirit of being an entrepreneur, you were open to different industries, different avenues. And to follow a man like Jeff Bezos and say, well, what did Jeff Bezos do? Who has definitely a couple of different times now claimed being the most wealthy man in the world because of his choices. So he chose an industry that was growing by 1,200% and just kind of said, well, how can I fit in here? So and then of course you went and investigated, what industries are growing, over there at the technological universities and whatnot. So tell us what it was about AI that brought you into this field, like tell us, what do we need to know about AI? Like, because some people are knowing that certain things are happening with artificial intelligence, that there's more things popping up and you hear it in the news, but maybe we're not really even aware of like the growth rates and the things that, what it's impacting in the world, So if you could share with us a little bit about what you've been learning.
Well, I think that before trying to understand a certain specific topic like artificial intelligence, it is very important to understand the impact that these new technologies could have on society and why we should not ignore this coming change. Unfortunately, history makes no concessions. If the future of humanity is decided in our absence because we are too busy in our routine jobs or playing with our children, and we refuse to adapt to these new times, neither they nor we will escape the consequences and we will be left out of the game. Like, this is very unfair, but who said that history is fair?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh,
So kind of asking everybody not to, as some might say, put your head in the sand, like you have to stay aware so that you're not left behind. Or you said this off the air, you said something about getting on the AI train. I like to say that there's a train called change coming and you don't want to miss out on the train, right? So yeah, what do you think? How do you think that AI is going to impact our future? What do you see as some of the upcoming changes? The ones that people need to be the most aware of.
well, there's a lot of things that AI is going to affect and is affecting right now. One of them is, of course, the political landscape, and other is the fact that a lot of bots and algorithms are going to replace people. For example, in the political landscape, you could say that at the end of the 20th century, it seems that there was a big ideological battle between fascism and communism and liberalism, and this resulted in an overwhelming victory of liberalism. Uh, Democratic politics, human rights, free market capitalism seems to be destined to conquer the world, but things took a different turn, and now a lot of things that we took for granted are now losing credibility. For example, the merge of infotech and biotech is going to put a lot of people out of the job market soon, and this is going to undermine a little bit freedom and equality. For example, if big data algorithm can create digital dictatorships or concentrate power in the hands of a tiny elite while most people suffer not from exploitation but for something a lot worse, that is irrelevance, this is going to be really bad for the job market. So we need to be aware of these changes, and I think that there is something very important here, That is the fact that people may not understand AI, may not understand technology, but they know that they are not going to be taken into consideration if they are left behind. So you might not know it, but you know that you are not part of the game. And so that's why I think that we need to communicate with people, and they need to understand why AI is so important, how it works, and how we can create this human AI teams that I think that are going to perform a lot better than maybe just a human or maybe just an AI by themselves if we can collaborate.
Oh, that's really good. I'd like to go a little bit deeper before we go into the collaboration on AI and teams. Can we go a little bit deeper on how you feel that AI has impacted the political landscape? Like, do you feel that one political party benefited more from the use of AI than another, or is that what I'm to understand? Or
Well, uh, is I would not say the use of AI, because to use AI you need a lot of data, and if you have access to a lot of data, then you can use this big data algorithm and you can mine this data. So of course, I think that there are a lot of cases that you can read that political parties have taken advantage of that. But the question here is not taking advantage of the of AI. The question would be if they have taken advantage of the data that might be private and that they shouldn't have access to that data.
Mhm.
For example, I think that and this is very important because I think that in some cases we need to regulate AI. And I'm
Mhm.
going to bring the conversation a little bit back. For example, during the industrial age, the liberal political system was shaped to run a world of steam engines, oil refineries, televisions. And
Mhm.
now it's difficult to deal with these ongoing revolutions in information technology and biotechnology.
Mhm.
Politicians and voters alike can barely understand these new technologies. I mean, let alone regulate their explosive potential. Already
Mhm.
today, computers have made the financial system so complicated that few humans understand it. And as AI improves, we may soon reach a point where no human can understand the financials anymore. And what consequences will it have for the political process? Can we imagine a government submissively wait for an algorithm to approve its budgets or a new tax reform? Meanwhile, blockchain networks and cryptocurrency like Bitcoin can completely revamp the monetary system, uh, so
Mhm.
that sweeping off tax reforms and making this inevitable. So governments might need to invent entirely new ways to tax people, or maybe you could put an information tax. I mean, the question is, will the political system manage to deal with the crisis before running out of money? So
Mhm.
there are a lot of things here.
So that's very interesting. This Bitcoin thing has become very popular. Is there, you just use that as an example, no connection there between the AI and the Bitcoin, or, just kind of using that as like a something that sweeping or.
Yeah, and there are a lot of things. For example, AI threatens to even change the meaning of life. Soon we will be able to learn to design brains, extend life, and thoughts at our discretion. And nobody knows the consequences that this will bring. Humans are very, very good at at inventing tools, but they're not very wise when using them. For example,
Mhm.
it is easier to redirect a river through a construction dam than to predict the complex consequences that this will bring for the ecological system of the region.
Mhm.
Uh,
So, so your suggestion, to the solution, well, I mean, because, what we're trying to avoid is just to have like an elite few control the world, right? You kind of mentioned that earlier. You mentioned a partnership between humans and AI, that you feel is kind of the solution to it all. Can you talk a little bit about how you feel that that is the path, to go on, why you're an advocate of that, if you can talk a little bit about what you'd like to see happen in this future of AI for people.
Okay, for example, it could be that in the 2050, for example, the labor market is characterized by human AI cooperation rather than a competition between one and the other. In areas from surveillance to banking, human plus AI teams may outperform both human and computers. However, the problem with these new jobs is that they are likely to require high levels of expertise and therefore will not solve all the problems of unskilled workers. For example, in 1920, a farm worker who was fired as the result of mechanization of agriculture was able to find new jobs in a tractor factory. For example, in the 1980, maybe a factory worker who became unemployed could start working as a cashier in a supermarket. However, in 2050, it could be difficult for a cashier or a textile worker who just loved his job due to a robot to start working as a cancer researcher or as a drone operator or something, or being a part of a human AI banking team. So the complexity of these new jobs in the future, they're going to make it a lot harder. So I think that this is something that we should take into consideration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. And, I found it really interesting as you started to talk about how AI is going to be the thing that, could cause us to be able to redesign the brain or extend life. Could you speak a little bit more to that? Because I'm very naive. I don't, I guess ignorant might even be the word. I don't know much about this potential. Could you just share a little bit about how that's going to evolve into having such an impact on the health of people?
Well, yeah. Uh, for example, there are two type of capabilities that humans have: physical and cognitive. In the past, machines competed with humans primarily in the physical abilities, while humans had a huge advantage in cognition. However, AI is now beginning to outperform humans uh, in these capabilities too, including understanding humans' emotions. It has been discovered that we all make the choices that we all make, from food to partner, are the result not of some mysterious free will, but of the work of billions of neurons that are calculating probabilities in a fraction of a second. I mean, this much celebrated human intuition is actually pattern recognition. And it has been seen that this biochemical algorithm of the human brain are far from perfect. This means that AI can outperform humans even in tasks that are theoretically require this intuition. For example, if you believe that AI must compete with humans in soul in terms of these mystical hunches, this is really impossible. But if AI is to compete with a neural network in calculating probabilities and pattern recognition, that seems a lot less overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And also, when we think in automation, I think it's wrong to compare a single human, for example, a single human driver with a driverless car. You need to compare uh, the capabilities of a set of human individuals with the capabilities of an integrated network.
Mm-hmm.
For example, a lot of cars. And this is when you see the difference that they could make. Uh, Thanks to learning algorithms and biometric sensors, um, soon, for example, a poor peasant in an undeveloped country could get a much better healthcare from his smartphone than the richest person in the world today.
How? Just because of the research that the phone is able to do, or how does that work?
Well, because you're going to replace doctors with AI. And
Mm.
this phone is going to have the knowledge of, and is going to have data from millions and millions of people. So this AI is going to be able to outperform any doctor in the world.
We talked about how AI will soon outperform any doctor in the world, and you said there's something interesting here, and then it cut off. So if you could kind of pick up from there.
The idea of blocking automation in fields such as transportation and healthcare, and solely for the purpose of safeguarding human jobs, is crazy. After all, what we should be ultimately protecting is humans, not the jobs. Unnecessary drivers and doctors will have to find something else to do. I mean, if we have a better solution and we can avoid deaths and car accidents, then humans should not be driving. Even if taxi drivers or Uber drivers get mad, I mean, if the alternative is better.
Yeah. So let me, I mean, most doctors do treat with medications, like they are able to observe certain symptoms and say, okay, you know, you need a medicine. Some doctors, however, are going to treat with surgery or whatnot, you know. Where do you think that, do you think, what doctors do you feel are most susceptible to being replaced? What doctors do you feel are going to be or replace
Well,
the?
I would put it in this way. At least in the short terms, like AI and robotics are unlikely to wipe out entire industries. Jobs that require specialization in a narrow range of routines and activities, this will be automated. So if you say maybe a doctor, maybe a surgeon that has to perform a very specific surgery that is very simple but very delicate, I mean, probably this would be replaced, but it will be much more difficult to replace humans with machine in less routine tasks that require simultaneous use of a wide spectrum of skills and that involve having to face unforeseen situations.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. So when you mention these jobs going away and that we shouldn't protect the job, but we should protect the human, what type of world do you see us living in? I mean, are there new jobs being created to replace the jobs that are being lost, by the AI? I mean, does the government just take care of people and AI becomes the workers? Are people just sitting at home while AI does the work? How do you see this future going?
Well, I think that within a few decades, uh, mm, hold on, can you repeat the question? Sorry, I was thinking
Well,
in.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about the fact that artificial intelligence is going to take different jobs, whether it be transportation or take over, like as we were just talking about, even the job of a doctor. And so then what happens? I mean, if billions of jobs are lost or whatever, what happens to the people? Where do they go to work? What will be their future opportunities? What are things? One, obviously, people should become aware now of what things they should become skilled at for the future to have employment. Or do you see us evolving into a society to where AI does the work and people are sitting at home and somehow we're all getting paid? I mean, how does this work?
To be honest, I don't know.
Yeah.
And this is something that we need to figure out. But I don't really know exactly where this is going to take us, uh, because I don't really know if computers and robots are going to really take over of the whole system or not, because you might argue that, well, maybe as a consumer we will need people, but that might not be the case. You could have a robot automated factory that produces I don't know, iron, and then sell this iron to a mining company that that digs iron, and then they sell it. sell back and forth, and they don't even need humans in this trading. So I'm not really sure where this will take us, and the fact that we don't know and nobody knows, because we don't know to which extent and when this change is coming. So uh, we need to be prepared, and we need to work on these problems, and we need a new political system maybe that includes technology and takes into consideration all this stuff. For example, if we are able to redesign the brain, we are able to modify humans and discretion, and we don't understand the meaning of life, well, maybe the meaning of life is going to be decided not by us, but by the financial statements of a big industry, and based on their interests, you know.
Mm. Wow. Well, it's a crazy world to think about. So how does your company, aiMonkey, as a mobile app developer and software developer, how are you helping businesses to prepare for this kind of future?
Well, uh, when we're working with these companies, I mean, we want people to understand AI, and we want people to actually to be part of the game. We want our companies, the people that works with us, we want them to be aware, and especially uh, we make sure that they don't use data from clients that is that is illegal. We want people to use data that actually is available, and not to infringe in privacy violations, and all this stuff. I think that this is really important for the society,
Mm-hmm.
in order for this to work. This is something that we make sure that they do, and we actually explain them a lot how to use the AI, because we have had some clients in the past that they want to implement AI in their solutions, and they come and say, "Hey, I want AI," and I say, "But how do you want AI? I don't know, just but you're the AI guy, so help me out." And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, you need to." You need to help us out a little bit here,
Mm-hmm.
and then we need to explain them, well, you need to use data, how you're going to process it, you need to be able to compare it with something, you need to have some results, what are we going to connect, is the data that you planning on using available, how can we mine this data, and this is the first step with working with any client, basically.
Mm. So let's use an example. I have a lot of people in the fitness industry that listen to this podcast, and fitness members, fitness business owners. If you were working with a company such as mine in fitness, what what are some of the benefits as to how we would incorporate AI into what we
Wow,
do?
in fitness, you can do a lot, especially if you're using biometric sensors, because you start getting a lot of data from the body. There are a lot of things like heart rates, or maybe, and if you use the blood, in the blood there's a lot of data you can extract, but maybe from the heart there are a lot of things that you can get from the heart, or there are, for example, I have a company called Regata that we work for, uh, and this company offers services where we have an application that connects via Bluetooth to different rowing devices and treadmills. So there are a lot of data that you can extract from people when they're using this machine. So you can help them out. For example, with the routines, you can start predicting things. If someone is going to have maybe a heart attack or something, you can start recognizing patterns. You can know that there is a current in biotech that says that there are a lot of things that you can predict by the way that your heart is beating, and And maybe there are patterns that you might not be able to recognize, a human might not be able to recognize, but an AI can recognize these patterns. So in the fitness world, you can measure a lot of things. Maybe if you want to gain weight, maybe if you want to change things, maybe measuring your diet, how it's affecting. I mean, at the end, the human body is very complex, and these pattern recognition algorithms can help you a lot in order to achieve your goals. Uh,
Mhm. So actually, when you think about what a trainer does, often, trying to compare like a food journal with a result that somebody has, whether it be a result on the scale for weight loss, or a result with body fat loss or inches lost or things like that. Um, that the more data that we can give to AI, like this could become like the super trainer of the future that tells you exactly what you need to do, especially with some blood work, right?
yeah, maybe you should eat this and you should eat this amount of repetitions, or maybe you shouldn't be putting that much weight in your barbell or whatever.
Yeah,
Uh,
right. Very interesting. Very interesting.
or maybe AI could help you to predict injuries.
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe by feeling the way you're grabbing the bar, or maybe by you can use AI with also with a camera and
Mhm.
see and recognize images, and maybe by the way you're doing the exercise, the AI could help you say, hey, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that good,
Mhm.
and could help you out. I mean,
There are movement screens in our industry, functional movement screens in
for
our
example,
industry.
in golfing, and this is not very hard to do. There are a lot of libraries and algorithms out there that can help you do that. There is this OpenCV thing that works very good for that, and we use it for driverless cars and those kind of projects. But
Mhm.
this could help, for example, a golfer with his swing, and recognize whether you're uh, uh, why your swing is not working good enough, and help you to fix it. And you can do the same in the gym, or maybe some other sport.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that is so cool to think about. Like the sports coach of the future is AI analyzing movement patterns and telling people how to correct them. Wow, that's wild. So cool. Anything else that you feel that people should know that you'd like to share today about AI or your company, which is
Well, I would like to share about my company that we're doing this because we love it, and we love technology. The moment I started working on this, I feel very very passionate. uh, we're working with the Simon Bolivar University. We have been growing a lot lately. Right now, I moved to New York because I started getting a lot of clients into the US, and we help them out with their AI solutions. And we also develop mobile applications, web apps. We do cloud computing. We help them out, but we focus on helping startups that they want to grow really fast. We understand this process. We have worked with a lot of startups. We have developed their solutions, and our service is based on three pain points that our clients have, because entrepreneurs tend to have no time because they're very very busy. And when you add a developer team to your organization, it's very hard to manage it. So we don't only provide the developers, we help you out with the project management, we give you the software architecture, we give you QA. This is all in our service. We give you everything that you need, and we help you out to manage that team. We also have very very good payment terms, long-term payment terms, forgettable payment terms. Because the second main point of an entrepreneur is that they don't have a lot of money, especially when they are starting their startup. And the third main point is they don't have enough knowledge, and they need help with that. So we're focused on solving those issues and help out young entrepreneurs that they want their dreams to come true. Well, if you come with aiMonkey, now you can feel like a real Silicon Valley CEO because you have everything that they have and a
Mm-hmm.
very, very good rate.
Oh, very cool. I like how you say forgettable terms. So
Getable terms, yeah.
yeah, that's good. Yeah. So not only, are you not necessarily taking on a big project by working with you because you take care of the project management, but you make it affordable and you allow a new startup business with little money to compete in a big arena. So very cool, very cool. And when people want to get in touch with your company, do they go through www.aimonkey.ao? Is that where they would go?
Yeah, they have to go to www.aimonkey.io, and
Okay.
that's it. You'll go there and you can get in touch with me.
Awesome. Is there any other links that you'd like to share today? Or is that
Oh,
the,
you can follow us at Instagram. We
okay.
are aiMonkey.
Okay.
That's it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for sharing with our listeners about AI today. I know that I've learned a lot and I hope everyone else has too. Thank you so much.
No, thanks you for the opportunity. This is very, very exciting to be here.
Thank you. Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Overcomers Podcast, sponsored by Journey 333. When I am not hosting the Overcomers Podcast, I am working at one of our fitness franchises so that I can continue to help people overcome adversity on a daily basis. That's right, people come to the Journey 333 fitness franchises because they want a coach in their life. They want somebody to help them overcome the adversities of life, motivate them to higher levels of greatness, bring out their potential, help them lose weight, get off medications, fight depression, fight anxiety. That's what we do on a regular basis. If you feel like you want your life to be about helping more people to overcome their adversities, if you feel like you're an overcomer and you want to create more overcomers, then maybe owning a Journey 333 franchise would be for you. To find out more, go to www.journeyfitness333.com.